right, we're beginning our live stream. All right, we will start in 5, 4.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming to today's public town hall. It is the first in a series of 4 town halls that we will host over the course of the coming year. It is our opportunity to share with you updates on your Winnipeg Health region and the progress being made to provide the best healthcare to every person we serve. If you are joining us today and you have visual or hearing impairments, then there are a few tools
everyone.
Thank you for coming that we want to make you aware of. You can learn more about the accessibility features by scanning the QR code on the screen in front of you. If you prefer to listen to today's town hall in French, click on the closed captions button on the bottom control panel and select your preferred language. There are a number of presenters in our town hall today, and it's important to note you have quite a bit of choice to adjust how your screen looks. At the top right-hand corner, you will see a view icon. Click on it to pick from a few different options to see both the slides and the presenter. You'll notice a 2-way arrow when you hover over the line in between the presentation and the speaker or the gallery. Click on it to make the presentation larger or smaller to suit your needs. Now I would like to invite the WRHA's board chair, Dr. Neetha Dick, to read the Traditional Territories Acknowledgement on behalf of all of us at the Winnipeg Health Region who work and live on these lands.
Thank you, Lindsay, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to our public town hall. My name is Neetha Dick, and I'm very pleased to bring greetings on behalf of the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority Board of Directors. The WRHA Board of Directors represents the community of residents that our organization serves. We are a 12-member board, and I'm excited to be welcomed as the newly appointed board chair. I'm honored to be asked to open these important town halls, which are key to our ongoing engagement and achievement of our strategic priorities. I would like to emphasize the board's commitment to the strategic priorities that have been identified through the extensive planning process and engagement over the past year. These forums are critical to helping us move forward with these priorities. As we continue in the process of reconciliation, our land acknowledgement is an important expression of the relationship our organization holds with First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people, acknowledging past harms and reaffirming our commitment to action to addressing those harms. The Winnipeg Regional Health Authority acknowledges that it provides health services in facilities located in Treaty 1 and Treaty 5 territories, the homelands of the Métis Nation, and the original lands of the Inuit people. The WRHA respects and acknowledges harms and mistakes, and we dedicate ourselves to collaborate in partnership with First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people in the spirit of reconciliation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dick. We're pleased you are here today. As we kick off today's town hall, let's take a bit of a virtual tour around our Zoom webinar environment. We want you to feel comfortable speaking up and engaging with the presenters. Here are a few tools to keep in mind as you do. At the bottom of your screen, you will see a number of different buttons. This is your control panel where you will go to make your voice heard. If you have a question or comment you would like our presenters to address, please drop it into the Q&A box. Everyone can see these questions that are being asked, and another way to participate is by using the upvote option inside that Q&A box underneath the question. This tells us which questions or comments are the most popular and are important for our presenters to answer. At the end of today's town hall, we will have time to take and answer your questions and comments. Now, to the left of the Q&A button in the control panel, you will see a chat box. Use this box to tell us if you're experiencing technical difficulties, and we will use this area to share specific links for polls that we have planned to collect your feedback. To the right of the Q&A button in the bottom control panel, you will see a reactions button. Use this feature to share a quick feeling, either a thumbs up or a thumbs down, a heart, or other reactions to something you've heard. Another way that you can participate in today's town hall is by using a tool called Mentimeter. It is an online engagement tool that lets us get a sense of how you're feeling about what you're hearing. To submit a comment to the word cloud, use your smartphone and scan the QR code that you see on the screen. If you don't have a smartphone handy, you can open up the chat box on your control panel below and click the URL link posted there. What we should have by the end of today's town hall is a large word cloud, which really shines a spotlight on your feedback because common themes will be grouped together. These town halls will be a first step among many where we get an opportunity to practice our shared values, such as demonstrating accountability, as well as prioritizing communication and trust. It is where we get to turn these into behaviors that we want to change, and we want you to be a part of that as well. Mike Nader, the CEO and president of the WRHA, will be speaking more about our shared values and how we use these to shape how we show up in how we treat our patients, clients, and residents, as well as each other. Your voice really does matter, and that is why we have intentionally built in opportunities for you to ask questions, share feedback, and reflect on how you're feeling. And we will use it to shape our ongoing dialogue with you about the well-being of the healthcare system that we all share together. Here's a look at today's agenda. We will be sharing with you updates on the co-developed Indigenous health strategy. We'll be looking more deeply at the shared mission and values. Then we will look at our framework, the 2023-28 strategic plan pillars, our team, our care, our system for all. And we'll close out today's town hall with a Q&A discussion and a brief wrap-up discussion where we'll reflect on the word cloud. And then we invite you to fill out a pulse check survey to let us know how we're doing on this town hall and to take more of your feedback. Now let me introduce the members of our senior leadership team who will be bringing these progress reports today. Mike Nader, President and Chief Executive Officer. Dan Skwarchuk, Regional Lead, Corporate Services and Chief Financial Officer. Jane Mackay, Chief Human Resources Officer. Dr. Joss Reimer, Regional Lead, Medical Services of Chief Medical Officer. Kirsten Jordan, Regional Lead, Quality Patient Safety and Accreditation. Marianne Lynch, Regional Lead, Health Services, Acute Care and Chief Nursing Officer. Scott Syme, Regional Lead, Communications. Tara Lee Proctor, Regional Lead, Health Services, Community and Continuing Care. Now I'm going to turn things over to Mike Nader, President and CEO, to share with us how we are practicing the mission and values that we aspire to over the next 5 years. He will be joined by Jeremy Morin, who will bring an update on the co-developed Indigenous health strategy, and he will also be speaking to the work of the Indigenous Health Unit and how they are supporting our Indigenous colleagues in healthcare, as well as the health needs of the Indigenous community in our health region.
Thank you, Lindsay, and welcome to everyone who's joined us tonight. I really want to thank you for taking time away from your families and your loved ones to hear about the great work that's happening in the Winnipeg Health Region. The framework for our strategic plan was really divided into 4 strategic pillars: our team, our care, our system, and for all. We also developed a framework for how we would measure progress and the work that we've put together to address these 4 priority areas. I'd just like to remind everyone that these aren't priorities that leadership or I picked on our own. These are the shared priorities that we came up with together through the engagement process of our strategic plan, with discussions with over thousands of people. And it was through that understanding that we began to understand what was most important to everyone in the system. We are all accountable to delivering on these pillars, and we have a responsibility to understand how our work is contributing to achieving these priorities and delivering the best healthcare services for all of you. The senior executive team will be reporting out on this work in these 4 areas today so that you can see what we have been doing to address them. We will continue to report on them throughout the strategic planning period in future town halls and in other ways that we'll discuss later in the hour. Just like the priorities, the mission and values were also decided together. These are the behaviors that we decided that were most important for us to exemplify in order to provide the best care. They're also the areas that we identified where we thought we had room to improve. For most of us, when we approach our work, these are already things we are trying to exemplify in our interactions with patients, clients, residents, and families, whether we're consciously thinking about them or not. However, I think where many of us struggle, myself included, is in times of high stress. Values can't be behaviors that we only reflect on or exemplify when things are going well. No matter what strain we're under as healthcare workers or as a healthcare system, our patients, clients, and residents rely on us to meet their needs and to provide them with the very best care. That's why it's so important that we know these values, understand what they look like in practice, and consciously live them, both in good times and in bad. There are certainly examples where, despite our current circumstances and in these high-pressure situations, we've seen these values being exemplified. I've personally seen staff who have come over to a patient who's been shivering and proactively provide a blanket without the patient asking for it. I've also seen staff who have lended a compassionate ear to the stress that families are facing. But I've also heard and seen about moments where we have fallen short. Two of the values that are critically important to my responsibilities in the strategic plan are equity and inclusion. Specifically, under the For All priority, we've been working on building relationships with Indigenous-led organizations and together establishing an Indigenous-led governance structure to co-develop an Indigenous health strategy. The main piece of work in this area for the first quarter has been developing the job description and beginning the hiring process of a new executive position, the Chief Operating Officer of Indigenous Health. Might want to jump to the next slide. We heard a lot during the engagement process about the need for Indigenous peoples to be part of the process for any work that relates to plans or initiatives that impact their health and well-being. This goes beyond just engagement. This is really about empowerment and ensuring that there is a seat at the table, and in fact for our partners to have the head of the table as we have our discussions. Reporting to me, this new position will have the authority, the autonomy, and the budget to institute changes to further the WRHA's mandate to improve health outcomes of Indigenous peoples. A key part of our efforts to create meaningful Indigenous representation within the leadership and governance of the organization. Achieving these goals, fully living the values, will require considerable organizational and systemic change. I can assure you that the board of directors and I are fully committed to supporting this work and the changes that are necessary as we navigate through this path together. I'd like to now introduce Jeremy Morin, the Workforce Development Coordinator with Indigenous Health at the WRHA, to hear more about the work that their team is doing to support Indigenous patients, clients, and residents. Jeremy?
Thanks, Mike. Hi, everyone. My name is Jeremy Morin. I'm the Workforce Development Coordinator for Indigenous Health, and I'm here to speak on behalf of our program as our interim regional director is unable to be here today. Indigenous Health supports Indigenous patients, clients, residents, as well as staff to achieve their full health and well-being potential, as well as support the WRHA in creating culturally safe work environments for Indigenous staff. Our team has three main program areas supported through our centralized support team. The first is patient services. This is where we work with our acute care sites to ensure Indigenous patients have access to tools and resources that support their care needs. So this includes access to smudging and other spiritual and cultural medicines, language interpretation, and discharge coordination for those who need social supports, just to name a few areas. Second is workforce development, where we support recruitment and retention, specifically working to build a healthcare workforce that's representative of the diverse community that we serve. And finally, education. And this is where we work with staff from across the system to learn about systemic racism and biases towards Indigenous people so that we can better understand their experiences and ensure that we're providing a safe work environment for each other and safe care for our patients, clients, and residents. There are so many great examples of work being done to create equity within the WRHA, but today I wanted to highlight a new education initiative for staff. As service providers, we all have a responsibility to understand the role of culture and Indigenous healing and patient care and examine our own cultural assumptions, beliefs, and attitudes with respect to Indigenous people. Our education and training coordinator, Faye Tardif, has been holding weekly cultural safety huddles with spiritual health and recreation therapy teams at Misericordia. I can report that more than 4,000 staff from the WRHA and Shared Health have taken the Manitoba Indigenous Cultural Safety course known as MIST. And we recognize that for many, taking time away from work for a long training session can be difficult. So what Faye has done is taken the concepts from MIST and adjusted it to fit into these huddle sessions that she delivers on the unit. This work has allowed us to bring cultural safety training to more staff, which in turn helps us create more equitable and respectful work and care environments for Indigenous people. So thank you, Faye. And thank you to the whole Indigenous health team for all their work supporting the health and well-being of patients, clients, residents, and staff. Thank you.
And now we'll turn things over to Jane Mackay and Marianne Lynch to bring progress updates to the R team priority of our strategic plan and the efforts that are underway to improve recruitment and retention.
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay, and thanks everyone for tuning in tonight. It's really appreciated. My name is Jane Mackay, and I'm the Chief Human Resources Officer for our Winnipeg Health Region. There's a lot going on with respect to projects that fall under our strategic pillar of our team, and I'm delighted to talk to you this evening about a few of them. We continue to work on ensuring the responses from the Employee Opinion Survey are shared broadly within our organization. And for us, that means that they're shared all the way to the site unit level. I want to give a shout out to the great folks at Victoria Hospital, as they have done a tremendous job in terms of their communication plans. They've created posters that share high-level results, and they're posted on each of the units. They are always visible on the unit, and they're used by managers and team members to discuss things that can be improved. We've also launched a new survey, and it's called the Employee Experience Survey, which is offered to all employees that are changing positions with the organization, leaving our organization, or retiring. The purpose of the survey is to help us understand the reason for the changes that they're making and how we can address and make changes so that we can foster improved retention. So the results of that survey are just in now, and we're getting more data day by day. And I look forward to being able to share the results of those surveys with you at one of our future town halls. And finally, something that we're really pleased with is that we've been working with Shared Health and the province on recruitment activities in order to add more healthcare workers to the system. As part of that work, earlier this year, representatives from WRHA joined the provincial delegation to a recruitment trip to the Philippines. And we are very grateful to Adrian Salonga, who is our Health Services Executive Director for Continuing Care, for being one of those WRHA representatives on the trip. And so I'm going to pass you along to Adrian so that he can update you on that initiative and share some important information. So thank you all for joining us this evening. It's been a pleasure to be able to update you. And now over to you, Adrian.
Thank you, Jane, and hello, everyone. It certainly was a privilege to join this provincial delegation. Our team of clinical leaders and professional recruiters embarked on a meaningful journey to the Philippines to interview nurses for positions in Manitoba. The interviews took place in Manila, Cebu, and Iloilo, resulting in an overwhelming response with nearly 350 letters of intent issued. We were highly impressed by the qualifications and diverse backgrounds of the candidates, recognizing their potential to make valuable contributions to our healthcare system and our community. The dedication displayed by the applicants was truly remarkable, as they traveled long distances and adjusted their schedules to seize this moment. The nurses shared their experiences and expressed their hopes for working in Canada to become a registered nurse, licensed practical nurse, or healthcare aide. We had engaging conversations with the nurses who had questions about healthcare and life in Manitoba, and it was clear that this opportunity meant a lot for them and their families. Since then, 80 letters of offer have been extended for candidates to work in the Winnipeg Health Region, and we expect the first group to arrive as early as 3 months. This initiative strengthens our team in the Winnipeg Health Region and contributes to the growth of the vibrant Filipino community in Manitoba, which I'm proud to be a part of. We eagerly look forward to welcoming them and offering our support, both within and outside of the work environment. And overall, this week-long experience was both humbling and empowering, leaving us with a profound sense of hope for the future. Thank you.
It's been 33 years for me, and I still remember the feeling of starting out, being absolutely exhilarated to begin to be that real nurse, but absolutely terrified to start.
I'm hearing a lot of same experiences and struggles, and from the other nurses, just like me. So something that I think that I'm the only one who's experiencing, it's not really, there's a lot of us.
Just seeing other nurses' perspectives on being a new grad and kind of how they dealt with everything, like just asking for help and just everyone gave tips and whatnot. So it's just the cutout groups where you talk and people talk through actual experiences.
Nursing can be very stressful, but learning and starting out and knowing others feel that way and how to grow and develop, it's really important that we have these connections.
It's really important when you go in. I feel like you have a lot of pressure on you to feel like you need to know everything and that you can do everything by yourself. But I think the main thing is it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to make sure, learn things as you go. It's okay that you don't know everything right now.
What you're feeling is absolutely normal. As you grow and develop more confidence in yourself, those feelings of anxiety, the worry that you don't know enough, that you don't know who to ask, no one will be available to support, they do decrease.
Knowing that there's places to reach, people to reach out to, and that we're all in this together, it's not just by yourself, and that all of us are going through similar experiences no matter where we are or where we're working.
It gives me hope and excitement for our future in nursing.
Hi everyone, I'm Marianne Lynch, Regional Lead Health Services for Acute Care and Chief Nursing Officer. Recruitment and retention of nurses and allied health professionals is one of the major focuses of my work right now, to make sure that there are enough staff to provide the care you need when you need it. There are more nursing school seats being filled and more international recruitment efforts, which means that there are more nurses coming into our healthcare system. But it can be an overwhelming experience for those who are new to healthcare settings, especially during this time, as we are still dealing with the impacts of COVID-19, and we want to do all we can to keep them in the healthcare system for many years to come. As you saw in the video, earlier this year, we were able to host our New Grad Day for nurses in person for the first time since 2019. We are observing in the workforce data that 30% of nurses have spent 5 years or less working for the WRHA. When I asked new nurses what they needed most in their first months on the job, they told me that they're looking for mentorship, someone who can offer them support and guidance at such a critical point in their career development. That's why we're supporting new nurses through formal programs that match up experienced nurses with nurses who are new in their career and still learning. Finding the right fit in any mentorship relationship is important. So to help with this, we've created a new process to track who is signed up to be part of the program, either as a mentor or as a mentee. These roles are also so crucial to our ongoing recruitment and retention efforts. By keeping track of both the mentors and mentees who are interested in these programs, it will make finding and providing support and mentorship so much more easier and more efficient. Finally, I just want to say thank you to all nurses and allied health professionals across the region for continuing to provide the best care possible to our patients, our clients, and our residents, no matter what challenges you faced. That hasn't wavered, and I'm very grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we're going to turn things over to Kirsten Jordan and Tara Lee Proctor to bring progress updates on the Our Care priority of our strategic plan and the efforts that are underway to incorporate patient voices into healthcare planning and ensuring that a patient-first approach is being used in care delivery.
To our daily safety huddle, Our purpose is to create a safe environment for our team and for the people we care for, and to make and monitor goals that are important to our team. How are we doing today? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Today. The safety huddle is a safe place for us to connect as a team, to have that 15 minutes where we feel that we have the opportunity to work as a team on any concerns.
We're an interdisciplinary team, so it gives you a chance to see how everybody's doing and you know what the problems are. That I'm a social worker, so it's good for me to know how the medical people feel and the rest of the allied health staff.
Are there any safety concerns that need to be brought forward at this time?
Whenever somebody acknowledges something or puts a ticket on the board, a lot of times it's something that another team member has noted. So it's a good way to definitely do some problem solving collaboratively.
It's really enhanced the quality of care and feeling, again, safe, that they're able to bring forward issues and to work through them. Are there any falls that need to be reported today? Any concerns with falls?
There's no blaming, so that's a good thing. So I mean, it's a way to look at how you can improve, how you and the team can improve what you're doing to improve the safety in the hospital for yourself and others.
I felt before the safety huddles that a lot of the issues fell on the nurse's shoulders to try and solve on her own. Whereas now, for myself, I find a greater satisfaction knowing that I can share it and that together we reach the goal that I would try and find on my own. So it makes my day a little bit easier.
Yay, Allison! So thank you, Allison, for all that you've done, and that is definitely a ticket here. It's really important to celebrate small successes, and having that ability to celebrate and to cheer and to clap, it's one way where we can feel connected and we can feel safe. And again, that's ultimately our goal, is to feel safe and connected and have that comfort level.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kirsten Jordan, the Regional Lead for Quality, Patient Safety, and Accreditation. I want to thank the team on the Dairy Rehab Unit at Seven Oaks for letting us showcase their experience with daily safety huddles. I know these folks, they're doing great work, but I've also been part of other safety huddles across the region where excellent progress is happening. Our goal is to promote a culture of safety, reporting, and continuous improvement across the WRHA so that we can effectively prevent or address any issues or concerns that impact the quality and safety of the care that we provide. These huddles are open to patients and families, so they are also an opportunity for you to share any safety concerns you have while receiving care. As of the end of May this year, 176 units have implemented daily safety huddles, 95 inpatient units, as well as 61 outpatient units and 20 support areas. By the end of June, most areas will be rolled out as planned. This quarter, we've been focused on maintaining and continuing the rollout in outpatient and support areas. We are also working to launch safety huddles in our community sites. So far, we have launched at 5 access centers, and we're working on the remaining access centers as well as our long-term care sites. As you can see from this video, by discussing safety in this way, we are investing in, listening to, and empowering every team member to achieve their best health and performance, which ultimately allows us to more consistently provide the highest quality care experience for you. It is also an excellent example of collaboration, accountability, and integrity, and our efforts to build the communication and trust we need to have with each other to provide the best care. I'd like to give kudos and say thank you to the quality and patient safety team who has worked so hard to get this project rolling, and to the units and teams who have been showing up and sharing at these huddles every day since we launched in the fall. This is the biggest quality and safety project we have ever taken on, and it will improve safety and patient outcomes as a result of everyone's commitment. Thank you.
The Winnipeg Regional Health Authority's second training class for uncertified home care attendants is now underway. The goal of the 4-week paid training program is to get students without formal certification, education skills they need to work as home care attendants. It's a revival of a program from the early 2000s. The class aims to train 200 new attendants by June and 300 in total to address pandemic-related worker shortages. It's also intended to reduce canceled home visits and provide more consistent service in the region.
They're going to be learning just the basic skills on how to safely provide care for our clients in the community. The 2 weeks following that is really, they're going to be shadowing a little bit at first to just kind of get a general flow of how the work is going to occur in the community, and then they'll be doing the actual care, but paired up with somebody who's been with home care for a while so that they have that support in home while they're doing the practicum piece.
Each session has 16 spaces. The first class completed training in February, and 7 new graduates are already working in permanent positions. Wages start at $19 an hour for people without a formal education. The current session runs through to March 19th.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tarly Proctor, Regional Lead Health Services for Community and Continuing Care. As you saw from that video, our team has been working hard to relaunch an uncertified home care attendant training. One of my priorities under the strategic plan is to review the Manitoba Seniors and Long-Term Care Strategy and determine how it can be applied regionally. The uncertified home care attendant training program is part of this work. Access to home care is foundational to aging well, and one of the goals of the senior strategy is to improve the quality and reliability of home care to help more seniors remain at home as they age. Staffing within home care has impacted how we've been able to deliver our services. The program has been successful so far and is helping to address that. We have hired 91 uncertified home care attendants, with 54 of them currently working and the remainder in various stages of training. We have also hired an additional 89 certified healthcare aides since January. Our goal is to hire 300 people through this program, and we are making good progress. As of the end of May, our cancellation rate has decreased from 5% to 3% of home care aid visit cancellations. And our vacancy rate for home care positions is down to 18% from 22% in January. I want to commend the team behind this work, the steering committee, the trainers, the home care workers that have joined trainees on practicums, and everyone else that's been involved. I also want to thank everyone in the community and continuing care programs for their ongoing hard work to serve our patients, clients, and residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara-Lee and Kirsten. So now we can jump back into our Mentimeter poll. Again, we're building a word cloud based on your feedback and suggestions to us and how you're feeling about the information that we're sharing. You can use the QR code by using your smartphone or clicking the URL link in the chat box to go in and make your comments there. Now we'll turn things over to Mike Nader and Dan Skwarchuk, who are bringing progress updates on the R system priority of our strategic plan and the efforts that are underway to balance access and flow demands, as well as the future operational demands being addressed in the facilities master plan. And we do have a video to start.
It's important to have access to care so that patients can get the care that they need when they need it. The utilization team is comprised of a very diverse team of multidisciplinary professionals. So our team consists of utilization specialists at each of the sites, and they help with patient flow in and out of the hospitals. And then we have our central bed access team that works at 650 Main, and they help coordinate the movement in between hospitals. Ultimately, utilization specialists are just experts in disposition planning and have like great knowledge of system resources and different pathways for moving patients around. Really, our goal is having the right patient get the right care at the right time. Without patient flow, it could result in delays to receiving care. It could result in medication errors, poor patient and family satisfaction. And it just backs up care in the departments, and staff get overworked because of that. One of my colleagues, her name is Latoya, she was screening one of the patients in the emergency department for a community medicine admission. And she came across an issue that hadn't been addressed, and she brought it forward to the emergency doctor. And that patient actually ended up needing urgent surgery. So that patient ended up having the emergency surgery and had better outcomes because of our team and what they were able to find. We have a number of electronic utilization tools that we use, such as Oculus and MedWorks. And they're really important for communication, but ultimately it's also very important for showing us the capacity in the system and the demand, and then we can align the demand with the capacity. Flow is like a river, so if there's anything blocking either end of it, or if there's any bottlenecks or barriers in it, it can lead to flooding and backing up, and unfortunately that's what we see sometimes in our emergency departments. Everything you do, it's not just about the units or the patient in front of you, it's about the whole system and working through that.
So we continue to have very focused work on access and flow. And while we're not where we want to be, we are starting to see some progress. Our year-over-year 90th percentile waiting to be seen time for the Winnipeg Health Region is down 12.8% from May of 2022 to May of 2023. Some of you may recall that in the fall of last year, we hit a peak in terms of our 90th percentile waiting to be seen time of 8.5 hours. And that's when we implemented very targeted efforts. And since that time, during those targeted efforts, we brought the waiting to be seen time down by 21%. We have implemented bi-weekly long length of stay review meetings starting on March the 8th. And as of May 22nd, the total number of patients who have been in hospital for greater than 90 days went down to 35%. On June 12th, that meant that we were down to only 35 patients being in hospital for greater than 90 days. Between March and May, teams across all sectors worked diligently to discharge 119 long length of stay patients. These are patients that had a length of stay of greater than 90 days. These patients represented a total of 16,000 inpatient days, or the equivalent of 44 annual hospital beds. What this represents is 1,500 patients who are unable to transition to a bed as quickly as they could have from an urgent care or an emergency room. Long stays most often result because of the complexity of required services. These are not necessarily medical services, but issues related to social determinants, housing, family dynamics, etc. People are kept in hospital because of gaps in service in these areas. One of the additional key initiatives that we undertook with long length of stay patients were complex case rounds, where we have a multidisciplinary team reviewing the patients and their individual situations and trying to come up and brainstorm key and strategic and innovative solutions to help them transition to the community. I'd like to acknowledge our allied health care professionals whose work is really required in terms of helping folks to transition. Their expertise and skill of our social workers, occupational therapists, physiotherapists, recreational therapists, and others have been key in helping the patients transition to their next care environment. I'll now hand it over to Dan.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Skorchak, and I serve as the Regional Lead for Corporate Services and Chief Financial Officer with the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority. For the first quarter of the year, the focus of my work and portfolio as it relates to the strategic plan is the implementation of what's known as the Facilities Master Capital Plan. Now, the Facilities Master Capital Plan is a cover-to-cover review of all the infrastructure within the Winnipeg Health region, including community, acute, and long-term care, as well as our corporate sites. When it comes to finances in healthcare, there will always be a finite number of dollars to spend and an infinite number of things we need to spend them on. The goal of the Facilities Capital Plan is to ensure that money is being spent on the areas of greatest need and to find dollars that could be reinvested in frontline care and services. The review will consist of 3 parts. We'll look at, number 1, all of our infrastructure for any immediate deficiencies, which sites or facilities have issues that currently or will imminently impact safety or ability to provide services. Number 2, what potential for expansion exists at our sites and facilities? Could we build up? Could we build down? Or if more space is needed? And number 3, our current leases. What's under lease? When do those leases expire? And what are those spaces being used for? And could they be used in other or more economic ways? At the end of the review, we'll have a full understanding of the current state of infrastructure across the region, which we can then use as a roadmap to prioritize projects based on available resources, inform planning to ensure that we have the necessary resources for future projects, as well as evaluate how we're using lease space and determine whether all that space is truly needed. You may have heard Mike say recently that people are the heart of healthcare, not facilities. But at the same time, facilities contribute greatly to the safety and comfort of people, our patients, their families, as well as healthcare providers and staff, and our ability to meet your care needs. While this plan may specifically be about facilities, it's ultimately about supporting people. How do we create environments that are safe, comfortable, and strengthen the services that we provide? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan and Mike. Now we will hear from Dr. Joss Reimer and Scott Syme, who are bringing progress reports on the For All priority of our strategic plan and the efforts that are underway to improve the ways in which we communicate and engage with the diverse populations whose health and information needs we serve.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Joss Reimer. I'm the Regional Lead of Medical Services and the Chief Medical Officer for the WRHA. And I'm really thankful to have been assigned the For All category because with a background in public health, equity and access are things that I'm very passionate about. So excited to get to tell you about a few of the things that we've been working on in the WRHA to try to address some of the challenges. You've already heard about some staffing and access and flow work. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the solutions we've been trying to do to both relieve stress on the system, particularly emergency rooms and urgent cares, but even more than that, to make sure that people know what options are available to them when they need care, where they can go, and making sure that when they don't need the level of care that an urgent care or emergency room can provide, that they have alternatives that will get them that care more quickly. So I'm talking about our walk-in connected care clinics and the importance of directing people to the right place for the level of care that they need. In the fall of last year, we began expanding hours at our walk-in connected care clinics. And since then, we've been able to increase our capacity at those clinics by 43%. We've also started to post our wait time information for these clinics on myrightcare.ca. In addition, we've partnered with medimap.ca to add wait times for other walk-in clinics across the region, whether or not the WRHA has anything to do with running those clinics. This project's goal was to provide the information necessary to drive people to the appropriate places for their needs, to take some pressure off of the urgent cares and emergency rooms, but more importantly, to get people faster access to care when they need it if they don't need the care in an urgent care or emergency room. One of the things that's been really exciting is to see how much people are using this. Since we launched the updates in October of 2022, the My Right Care homepage has been viewed more than 2 million times. So we know that it's serving some of our population. The wait time pages for walk-in clinics and for the walk-in connected care clinics specifically were viewed 375,000 times and 138,000 times, respectively. We're now also in the process of getting this information on the screens in the waiting rooms at urgent care and emergency departments. That means if you're in the waiting room and you might have less urgent needs, rather than waiting, you'll be able to see what clinics have wait times nearby, and you can make a decision in that moment to go to one of those clinics if they will serve your needs rather than staying in the waiting room. I need to recognize the physicians, the nurse practitioners, the IT team, the entire interprofessional team members who have supported this initiative. In particular, the folks who work at the Walking Connected Care clinics. By taking on the additional patients, you're exemplifying the collaboration that is necessary to make better health and well-being possible for everyone, and helping making access to care better for everyone in Manitoba. And finally, because as a physician and because that's my portfolio is for physicians, I want to say a special thank you to all the physicians across the region, whether you're working in one of our hospitals, one of our clinics, or any other area. I want to thank you for your continued hard work and your dedication throughout these challenging circumstances.
Seems there may be an error in playing this video.
Okay, we're having technical difficulties. So what we'll do, Scott, if you can bring your greetings, then we will run the video right after.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Is it going to play? No. I'm Scott. I'm the regional lead for communications with the region. And thank you so much to all of you for taking the time and giving us the opportunity to meet with you this evening and give you a bit of an update in terms of how we're doing against our strategic plan. My role in supporting the strategic plan is to ensure that everyone, including our patients, clients, and residents, are receiving the information they need about and want about our healthcare services and our work and our system when they want and how they want. What you will see in the video, I hope we can get it playing because it's a really excellent piece of work, is an example of some of the things we're doing around public engagement. For those of you who don't know, the Winnipeg Health Region has engaged groups across the city called Local Health Involvement Groups, or LIGs, that are made up of community members who want to share their perspectives on and experiences in our healthcare system. There are 6 groups based on our community areas throughout the city, and a few weeks ago they came together in person to share what they discussed throughout this last year's session with representatives from our executive team and the board. They really did share a lot of important insights into communications at each point of the patient journey and what they would like to see from us. And just to give you a few examples, they'd really like to see, as much as possible, simpler, more jargon-free language. I think we have ways to go with that one. To have materials and communication tools available in multiple languages and accessible in as many ways as possible for people to access. And being proactive in sharing information using tools that reach as many people as possible. One of the key recommendations that they had was the need to update our website to make it easier to navigate and ensure that all the information is up to date. I'm pleased to say, in large part, thank you to their feedback, that is a project we're undertaking this year to commission a study on what would be required to redesign and update our website to improve access and information about care and services across our region. Part of that will include seeking further public feedback to ensure that it's going to meet your needs, which we'll share more information about once we get there. Public engagement is one part of our larger voice of stakeholder strategy, which is a collaboration between communications, human resources, and quality and patient safety to ensure we are incorporating feedback from all our key stakeholders into our communication and engagement planning, and then prioritizing these insights in our decision-making process. Finally, I want to highlight for you the pulse check that we've launched this year as part of these town halls. It's an opportunity for you to tell us how you're feeling about the strategic plan, our progress on these priorities, and how you see yourself in the bigger picture of this big plan. It's about 8 questions. It'll maybe take 5 to 8 minutes to complete, and there are 3 open-ended responses to allow you to give us more granular information. And the address should be up on the screen now, I see. As an added benefit to doing this is that you will get to see the results of the survey in real time as other responses come in. I want to thank you again for your participation in these surveys and for being here tonight. This is all really important to help us ensure we use your advice and preferences in the decisions that we're all accountable for. I think just one last thing, I'd really like to thank the group that I work with, the communications team, for doing such a good job of helping pull together these town halls for us to be able to meet and talk with people, including all of the videos in here. Thank you so much for that. And thank you again.
For WRHA to identify and agree to put in place this process of engagement, communication, reflection, where people from all over are brought together to speak about, their experiences, I think is a huge step.
I really think it's important to hear the voices of our community, and it's such a broad and diverse group of folks in diverse ages, and it really gives us a good sense of where we're hitting the mark and where we're missing the mark, and what we do need to do to improve care for all.
I think that's one of the most remarkable process that the WRHA has put in place, having to have representatives like me who are newcomers to the community. As a newcomer, feel you don't have something to say, but their recognition that the newcomer has a voice, and then giving that newcomer the opportunity to speak, to participate in the process, I think is a huge thing. We have all the big voices in this meeting today. It's not a coincidence. For them to even make out time to come and listen, it means they want to change. So I believe that this process is going to bring a huge change in the system.
Well, I think the key pieces are around trust, looking at how we can ease navigation for folks and make sure that they know how to access the care that they deserve and that we should be providing. So I think trust is a foundational piece, and making sure that we're a credible source for folks. And I think a key to get to that is around how we communicate with clients.
I think it kind of gave us the full evaluation of the time that I've been volunteering in the committee, being able to have my voice heard with leadership there. And also the other league members, because we were usually spending time on the Zoom and we didn't see people in person. So it was really good to be able to connect with them.
My hope would be to ensure that we are partners in care and we make sure that the patients have a voice, that they're listened to, and we treat them with dignity and treat them with the respect that they deserve, and they are able to get the care that they need.
Because it's all about community.
So we got a chance to watch that video. And again, there's just a reminder for that pulse survey. Please give us your feedback, and we'll make sure that we are listening. Now we move to our Q&A discussion. So I want to just take a moment and thank the members of executive leadership who shared these progress updates. And really, they are helping to guide our post-pandemic recovery as a healthcare delivery organization. And thank you to all of you for attending and taking time out of your evening to be here to listen and also to ask your questions. So we'll start. Again, the Q&A is where the box in your control panel is where we'd like for you to make your questions appear. You can upvote that using the check mark or the thumbs up. And we'll start here with the first question that came in. So, will these town halls be in person at some point? I feel like we leave some people out when we just do things virtually. And I'll turn that over to Scott.
Thanks, Lindsay, and thanks very much for that question. We're just beginning this journey right now, and yes, that's definitely a possibility. We're looking at all kinds of options for how we can get out, both into our staff environments and into the community, which would certainly include the possibility of in-public options as well.
Thank you, Scott. The next question, it's a bit of a long one, so I'm going to read it out here. What is the WRHA doing to ensure patients in the ED can have the support they need if they come without a family member? Example, having a peer support worker accompany or advocate for them. This has been a barrier for folks in community. I have been a part of several instances where community members were encouraged to visit the ER only for them to leave after being told they are not allowed to have someone accompany them. I appreciate the health inequities being addressed, but I would like to see WRHA create a plan to tackle these types of systemic issues. I think Kirsten, I might turn that to you first.
Yeah, what a great opportunity, and thank you for bringing this up. I don't know when this may have happened to the folks that you are connected to in the community. Right now, our visitation in ER, people are allowed to have someone accompany them and certainly have an advocate present with them. I know sometimes it's challenging and sometimes we don't always respond very well to advocates, and I'm sorry for that experience. And happy to take this information back and talk to our teams and make sure that patients have the supports that they need while they're in our care.
And Kirsten, maybe I'll just follow up with that. Where can people go if they do have questions or they may want to give some feedback on the care that they received?
For sure. So there's a couple of ways to give care, feedback care on care you receive in the UC or the emergency department. So you can go online. We do have a survey that's available throughout the UCs and the ERs. You will see posters and QR codes, phone numbers that you can call to share your experience. It's a 3-question survey. But also, if you want to talk to somebody and you just really need to explain your situation or get some feedback from us or some help from us, you can always reach out to client relations at wrha.mb.ca. You will find that link and an opportunity to reach out to our client relations team on our WRHA website under client relations.
Thank you, Kirsten. So we don't have any more questions coming in the chat yet, but that doesn't mean we don't have time to still take questions. So we really want to make this opportunity available to ask those questions. And so I'll just give us some time here in case there are others who are on the town hall today that want to be able to ask questions of the leadership team that is here. And as a reminder, if you don't feel comfortable asking a question, we do still have the Mentimeter word cloud. You can certainly access that to make your voice heard. And then we also have those pulse surveys as well, where there's an opportunity to give feedback that way anonymously. Okay, so we have a question here. I'm going to, I believe, turn it to Mike, but maybe Dr. Reimer, you'd like to weigh in as well, or Tara Lee. So what is the WRHA stance on safe consumption sites?
Lindsay, I wasn't sure if you were going to toss that one to Joss or myself first. Okay, well, so I'm going to give you my perspective on safe consumption sites. I think this is a strategy that has been implemented in other jurisdictions as it relates to harm reduction and promotion within the community. That is a policy decision that needs to be made by government, and so our position is to follow the policy direction that we receive from government as it relates to that. So that's the extent to which I think I can comment on it. Joss, I don't know if you would have anything else to add in relation to that.
Yeah, I mean, there's clear scientific evidence of the benefit of safe consumption sites in general. What has always been the challenge is what's the right fit here, what services can we provide, and what policies and positions can we do with the leadership that's been chosen by Manitobans. And so that whether or not that's something we can do here is something that we're constantly evaluating to see if it's the right choice. What I would say also, though, is that we do have a position statement on harm reduction overall. And the WRHA does do a lot of harm reduction work with naloxone distribution, with sterile supply distribution. And so it's something that's really important to the work that we do. And we know that it's critical to preventing infections and saving lives. And we plan to continue to do our harm reduction work and we'll continue to expand as we can to make sure that we're reaching out to the community to provide them with the services that they need.
Thank you, Dr. Reimer. We have another question here. Do we know the net decrease of WRHA medical staff as a result of recent initiatives? So I'm going to go to Jane first. And I hope that we're getting the question. So it's again, do we know the net decrease of WRHA medical staff as a result of recent initiatives?
Yeah, I guess I'd ask the question little, which is medical staff, is that physicians? If it is, we'll have, I don't have that information handy. It is accounted for in a separate area of human resources, but certainly if that information is wanted, we can track it down.
So maybe if we could speak more broadly, I suppose, about the workforce, and if we have a sense of net increases or decrease as a result of some of the recent initiatives that have been undertaken to try to improve recruitment or retention.
Yeah, I think we've been very targeted. I mean, we heard earlier this evening about 80 offers being made to nurses and healthcare aides from the Philippines. I think there were over 300 offers made throughout from that mission throughout Manitoba, so that's very positive. Our home care recruitment is being actioned very significantly and is showing some very good results. So I'm really pleased with that. There's more work to be done for sure, but those are two very key areas that we've been strategically focused upon. Other than that, we do have the retention initiatives that are now within our collective agreements. And we'll get the results of what that's looking like very shortly, as there was a 6-month implementation period.
Thank you, Jane. I appreciate that. And we have another question here. Is there plans to make smudging accessible in all WRHA facilities, acute, community, and other Indigenous-led resources? Jeremy.
I can speak to the smudging. I know there is policy in place right now that there are areas at each of the hospital sites that allow smudging. So that's something that has been in place for a couple of years now.
Thank you. Mike, did you want to add anything to that response?
Lindsay, I think we are looking at other opportunities in community. Obviously, we need to have the HVAC and the ability to ensure that there's a proper circulation that's associated with the smedging. Where we have the ability to do that, we have a number of sites that are implementing that. I think part of the work that Dan mentioned in terms of the facilities master plan will help us to understand where we might have easier capacity to initiate and implement those activities and then undertake them. But certainly we've had lots of discussion, not only with relation to smudging, but also just making our environments more welcoming and lowering the barrier to care. And because we've heard that from many of the community members as we went through our strategic planning process. So that will be part of our work over the next 5 years for sure.
Thank you, Mike. So we're at 8:05 now. I just want to make sure that we've given everyone enough time. We did a lot of sharing and a lot of talking, and we need to do our share of listening as well. So if you have more questions, other comments, please make sure go ahead and use that Q&A feature. Just give it another minute here. And again, you can use the pulse survey, you can use the word cloud if you're wanting to make your feedback heard that way. Okay, so we will wrap things up. I'm going to turn our wrap up over to Mike. And I think that we'll check in on that Mentimeter word cloud as well.
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay. And really, I want to take the opportunity to thank everyone for joining us tonight, and as well to our executive and leaders for taking time away from their family to provide these updates. I think this is really part of our commitment to ensure that we report back on our measurement. So maybe let's pull up the word cloud and just take a look at what we have moving forward. Well, accountable, good start. Hopefully skeptical, pretty open, and fluff. And I'm, we're open to hearing it. So the goal for us to ensure that our strategic plan is not fluffy is to ensure that we are constantly measuring everything. And so what we aim to do today was to share with each of you some of the metrics that we are monitoring in terms of the care that we're providing and what we're looking to deliver. And so I hope that as we continue through this work, you can continue to see where we are making improvements and where we are falling down. And that's really important for us to all be accountable for our healthcare system. Because at the end of the day, this is all of our healthcare system, no matter who we are, whether we work in the healthcare system or a member of the public. We will at some point, I guarantee you, require the healthcare system. And so it's incumbent on all of us to make it better. So I just want to make sure that everyone is aware that they can go to the website. We'll be posting a recording of this town hall, as well as information on the highlights for each of the 4 priorities that we've talked about today. We will be regularly doing that. We're also launching a dashboard where we'll post updates on the key performance indicators quarterly. And that'll allow you and us to track our progress towards the goals over the strategic planning period. You'll find this information if you go to the www.wrha.mb.ca/the plan. You can see it on the screen right now as we move forward. You can expect more updates to this page at the end of this month when we announce the wait times for June and an update on the key performance indicators at our next town hall that was scheduled in October. Again, I'd like you to really thank you for taking the time for joining us this evening, taking time away from your loved ones and those who care for you, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you everyone again for joining us, taking time out of your evening. I will just remind that again, use that QR code or on your screen to complete the pulse survey, and know that we are going to do a town hall again in October to revisit these commitments that we've made, these accountabilities that we have, and we appreciate and look forward to your participation again. So thank you and have a good evening. Good night.